This Roman emperor went from conquering Rome to killing himself in just 92 days. He committed the only mistake no other emperor fell into, and it cost him an empire. Never, never, never let your enemy get into your head. Before Emperor Otho could really start his reign, the rebel General Vitellius already had plans to lure him outside of the thick walls of Rome. This is the story of the shortest reign in Roman history.
In the wake of Emperor Nero's fall, a tempest of uncertainty and political vacuum swept through Rome. It was a time ripe for the emergence of a leader who could navigate the tumultuous waters and steer the empire back to its destined glory. I, Marcus Salvius Otho, stood ready to be that helmsman, with my eyes set firmly on the horizon of Rome's future, on the most powerful seat in the world. My destiny from that day on was to become Roman emperor. My ambition was not born in the quiet corridors of contemplation, but in the fiery crucible of Rome's most turbulent hour. Emperor Nero's demise had left a void, a throne without a worthy successor, and I saw in that emptiness an opportunity, not for personal aggrandizement, but for the restoration of Rome to its pinnacle of greatness. My journey towards claiming the purple was not merely a bid for power. It was a pledge to uphold the majesty and dignity of the Roman Empire. So yes, I conspired against my emperor. My predecessor, Emperor Galba, was a man too hated by too many people to be an effective leader. At the head of the legions of Lusitania, I ordered his death for the good of the Republic. The year was 68 AD, a year that would mark the beginning of my ascension to the throne and the end of an era defined by capricious rule. As the year turned, so too did the tide of fortune. The Senate's declaration in my favor was a testament to the effectiveness of my campaign, a campaign that was as much about winning hearts as it was about securing power. Yet, the looming shadow of conflict with General Vitellius, commander of the armies of Germania, was a constant reminder of the fragility of peace. In complete disregard for the authority of the Senate and the people of Rome, his legions declared him emperor. From that cursed day, I knew that only one of us would survive a civil war. I knew that the coming war would be a crucible in which the fate of Rome would be forged. In those heady days of 69 AD, as I prepared to face Vitellius and his legions, I did so not as a mere claimant to the throne, but as a custodian of Rome's legacy. My bid for power was imbued with the weight of history and the hopes of a people yearning for stability. It was a chronicle of ambition and resolve, played out against the backdrop of an empire at the crossroads of its destiny. So, as I recount my journey from the shadows of Emperor Nero's Rome to the precipice of imperial power, I do so with the confidence and persuasion that marked my rule. My story is not just one of ascent, but of a vision for Rome that burned as brightly as the eternal flame in the Temple of Vesta. It was a vision that, though ultimately cut short, would forever echo in the annals of our glorious empire. From the very outset of my reign, I understood that the foundation of true power lay not solely in the might of legions, but in the hearts of the people and the loyalty of provinces far and wide. It was with this understanding that I embarked on a campaign of generosity and reconciliation, a testament to the magnanimity that would characterize my rule. In those early days, as Rome still reeled from the tumult of transition, I extended my hand not in conquest but in peace. My first acts were to redress the grievances of those who had been unjustly marginalized under the whims of previous emperors. It was a move that some saw as politically astute, yet I saw it as fundamentally just. To those who had fallen out of favor, I offered reinstatement and redemption. To the communities and provinces that had borne the brunt of imperial neglect or excess, I extended privileges and assurances of their valued place within our empire. This was not merely a strategy to consolidate power. It was an embodiment of my vision for Rome, a vision where loyalty was rewarded, not coerced. My generosity was not without its critics, who saw in it a bid for popularity over principle. Yet what they failed to grasp was that my actions were rooted in a deep-seated belief in the dignity of the Roman state and its citizens. By reinstating those who had been unjustly removed from their positions, I was not merely currying favor, I was healing the wounds of our body politic. The shifting allegiances within the empire were akin to the changing winds, unpredictable and capricious. My reign, though nascent, was besieged by the looming specter of Vitellius's forces, a threat that grew in both size and ambition. This was not merely a military confrontation. It was a battle between the past's lingering shadows and the bright promise of a future under my guidance. Each day brought news of movements and machinations of legions on the march and provinces in the balance. In no time, the provinces of Britain, Gaul, and Germania joined Vitellius in open rebellion against me, against Rome itself. My response was swift and decisive. I marshaled our forces, not just with the might of arms, but with the strength of our convictions, rallying the legions to the cause of Rome's glory. As dawn broke on that fateful day, April 14th in the year 69 AD, my heart was alight with a fire of ambition and determination. The stage was set near the town of Bedriacum, and destiny called upon me, Otho, to defend my claim to the Roman Empire against the usurper Vitellius. My generals, loyal and brave, were extensions of my will, ready to engage in a dance of war that would determine the fate of Rome. The strategy was devised with precision and foresight, leveraging the valor and strength of our 50,000-strong army. My legions, a diverse mixture of the Praetorian Guard, urban cohorts, and legions drawn from across the empire, was a testament to the reach of my influence. From Moesia, reinforcements had arrived, bolstering our ranks, their spirits high, ready to fight for their emperor. Vitellius, with his legions from the Rhine, boasted of his strength, his army even surpassing ours in size. But what we possessed was not just numbers, but what I saw as the finest army Rome ever marshaled. Our plan was to utilize the mobility of our forces to strike with precision, exploiting the enemy's weaknesses. Our cavalry, swift and deadly, was to flank the enemy, sowing chaos, while our infantry, the backbone of our might, would engage directly, breaking through their lines with the force of a tempest. As the battle commenced, the air was thick with the clash of steel, the ground soaked with the blood of the brave. My generals pushed forward, their movements a symphony of war. Yet, the tides of battle are ever fickle, and despite our valor, despite our might, the forces of Vitellius proved formidable. Their legions, seasoned in the art of war after decades in the Rhine Valley confronting the Germanic tribes, met our advances with a fierce resistance, their resolve as unyielding as the walls of Rome itself. The clash was brutal, and the losses heavy on both sides. Our strategy met with the harsh realities of war. The chaos of battle, the fog of conflict, tested our mettle to its limits. We had been vanquished. Upon receiving word of our defeat, my heart weighed heavy with the sacrifice of my loyal men, of Rome's loyal men. Yet, in that moment of reflection, I understood that my ambition, though unfulfilled on the battlefield, could still pave the way for peace. To continue this conflict would only spill more Roman blood, a price too steep for my claim to power. Thus, with a heavy heart, I chose to embrace my fate, not as a defeat, but as a final act of service to the empire I so dearly loved. In the end, my decision to end my life was my last command, a command for peace, hoping it would heal the wounds of civil war.
Thanks for watching our second episode of our riveting series that will cover the lives of every single Roman emperor. Have you ever heard of Vitellius? The Roman emperor who went from the ruler of Rome to homeless and beaten on the streets in a blink of an eye. Watch our next video as we unveil the ruthless journey of this man, whose thirst for power, war, and wine fully mirrors the legendary Robert Baratheon from Game of Thrones. Let's dive into the captivating saga of Vitellius, a real-life Roman epic.